Well, let's see how things are going in the world of sound, because that's important. It's important that people can hear you and that they can hear you clearly. And if they can't hear you, clearly, then there's going to be a problem. All right, good to go? Let's just make sure. Sounds good on the live, so we'll leave it at that. We do need to adjust the privacy. Zoom makes it so it defaults to friends of friends when you go live through Zoom. And you want to be able to share it. You can share it to whosoever will. So let's talk about something, because I know speakers come in all different brands, shapes, sizes, types, vocations, fee-based. You know what I'm saying? There's so many different, like drummers. Drummers are almost a dime a dozen. But then you got to be exceptional to stand out, and that's what you should want to do as anything in your craft. You shouldn't want to just be one of many voices. You should want to be a singular voice, that it's like when this person plays the organ or when this person plays the drums. It's like when Will Kennedy plays the drums, I don't even have to see him. I know what his sound is like. It's distinctive. And my son, Chris, has gotten into that particular realm in his playing, that yeah, man, I can tell when it's my boy playing. So I want to talk to you. This is a professional tip, okay? This is don't spiritualize everything that I post just because I'm a man of faith. I have a business too. So you know what I'm saying? If I was selling cookies, we don't have to spiritualize selling cookies. Sometimes it's just practical. So that's why, as a master life coach and a coach in 4 other disciplines, speaking being one of them, I like to just drop little nuggets off, because nobody did that for me when I first started. So let's talk about it. Think about your approach when you take the stage as a professional speaker. And think about what it is that you do. Ladies and gentlemen, hailing all the way from Impactville, the one, the only CL King. Right? And then what do you do the moment your microphone, your lavalier is turned on and you step behind the lectern? What is it that you say, and what is it that you do? Many times people do a predictable set of things. They thank the organizers. When you go to church and you speak at church, you got to thank the usher board, the mother board, the choir director, the choir board, the missionary board, and everybody else under the sun. By the time you finish thanking everybody, you done talked for 42 minutes and you only got 50 to speak. I'm telling you the truth. Right? And so then if you don't do that, who does he think he is coming and blah, blah, blah? Well, I've told speakers who come on our platform, like our Midnight Motivation, I tell them, please do not waste your time saying thank you to me for coming on the platform. Guess what? You're thanking me by being here. You're thanking me by showing up. You're going to deliver some amazing content to my audience, and so I don't need to be appreciated in front of them. I want to share 100% of your value with them, And I don't need you taking up all your time giving platitudes and pleasantries about how glad you are to be there. So sometimes that just grates on my nerves. Like the person comes to the podium and you got to stand for another 40 minutes listening to them go on and on and on about how grateful and thankful and humble and all that they are to be there. That's in the church world. In the commercial world, it is somewhat similar, a little more tapered down, but it still nonetheless can be somewhat unnerving to go down this list of appreciations for being there. Like, you see presidents, they do that. I want to thank Senator so-and-so, and I want to thank Governor so-and-so, and I want to thank, Billy Bob at Ham and Eggs, so, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, brother, we get it. But I want to challenge you to think about a different approach when you take the stage, when you take the microphone. Think about this. The next, I've spoken before 20,000 people before. I've spoken before 20. I've spoken before 2. I've spoken before 800. It doesn't matter the size of the audience. Some things are going to be always the same, and then there are going to be things that are different. Hey, Tara Lachey Blue, the lady who did it in the skirt. Billy Bob Thornton, that's right. What's up, man? We're going to meet in person, Brother Thomas. I'm going to have you on the show in 2024, bro. Yep, you're going to be on the podcast. So anyway, and so will you, Tara. You guys will be on multiple times. So anyway, think about this. If you took the platform, I'm giving you just an idea. Imagine taking the platform and the microphone, and they've introduced you, and you come behind the lectern and say absolutely nothing. There have been times when they say, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the platform, Mr. C.L. King. And I won't say a blessed word until what I'm going to say means something. In the meantime, I'm getting myself together. Sometimes I come to the podium with notes just because I need to make sure I keep myself on track, depending on the type of environment and speaking arena. But have you ever tried that? Have you ever tried? Because some speakers will tell you, hey, man, you got to catch them in the first 90 seconds or else you've lost the whole thing. You know what I mean? You got to come out with a joke. Comedy always grabs them. You got to have a hook. And I'm saying all those approaches can and do work. But have you ever tried taking the platform and not saying anything until you're ready to say something of substance? Make them wait. Make them key in. I've done it many a times. It almost gets slightly uncomfortable that I ain't said a word. I ain't thanked Dr. So-and-so for having me. I haven't thanked the commissioners in the audience. I haven't thanked the police chief. I ain't did none of that. And then when I open my mouth, it is to deliver the message to those people. And I can thank everybody else at the end. You should try that approach sometimes. And not be so predictable with, you got to give 3 quick, you got to have an object lesson, set somebody on fire on stage, do a toilet paper game, a coloring game. I do that in elementary schools and middle schools and high schools because if I stood there and got quiet, they would just get louder, right? So you got to know your environment. You got to understand the place that you go. But I have done it several times in high schools where I go to the lectern and I don't say anything. Sometimes when I go to the jail, I don't get flowery introductions at the jail. In fact, nobody introduces me. The introduction is the metal door slamming behind me. And bam, I will just let my thoughts connect with theirs without us ever saying a word. And I watch their body language. I watch them say, I wonder, what is he about to say? And then when it's finally time to speak, I speak to them. Now, there are customs and courtesies that are germane to the speaking arena, right? There are things that are expected and anticipated. But when I have people speak on our platform, I don't want them to thank us. They've thanked us by their presence. They've thanked us by the excellency of their delivery. They've thanked us by the wealth of information they're going to deliver to the people. And so I don't need to have my ego stroked for you to thank me. If I needed thanking, I wouldn't have invited you. Boy, I know I'm getting way out there in the missionary Baptist folk arena. They don't like that, what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you shouldn't give honor to whom honors due. Be careful. I know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about techniques and strategies for how you approach your stage. Like, in other words, don't do it the same way every time. Listen, I've spoken like 700 times over the past 15 years. It's like 708 or something like that. And you know what? Sometimes I get tired of hearing myself, right? Sometimes Greg's got to travel with me everywhere. I can't imagine how tired this man gets of hearing me, even though I don't usually do a lot of the same stuff twice. So you've got to make sure, if you want to stay fresh, if you want to stay cutting edge, if you want to be on the, you know what I mean? Just look for opportunities to present it differently. I talked about Will Kennedy, the drummer, right? Drummer for Yellow Jackets, the guy who has followed my son's drumming career all the way to him now being in the Army. He's a world-renowned drummer, two-time world best drummer in the world cat, right? And for a season, Will Kennedy was turning his cymbals outward. Instead of his cymbals being inward, he was turning them outward. And everybody was like, yo, Will, what is up with your cymbals being out like that? They're supposed to be in, right? And he said, you know what? I play these things 50, 60 nights a year, and it just gets mundane. I don't want to get so routine that I lose my fresh edge. Are you serious? Yes, everybody needs a Greg Smith in their life. And so what I'm saying is that try that approach one time or two times. Now, if you go to an elementary school, like my last EOG rally was in Bogue Sound Elementary, I think. I started the event out with some hype music playing in the background, running around the audience, giving out Smarties, because I don't think those are a big choke hazard, right? 3rd, 4th, 5th graders, I wanted them to get on the fringe edge of out of control. I seen the administrators over there clutching their pearls. What is King doing? He's supposed to be a speaker. Man, I had those kids eating out the palm of my hand. Because after we stopped the music and after I came back to the front, guess what I did? I stood there. I stood there. And they realized, hey, man, this guy is something. I didn't have to do 2 fingers up because, the principal came to me and said, well, here's our cue for getting the kids quiet. I don't need none of that. I'm good enough that the audience will be quiet when I got something to say. Now, that sounds egotistical, but I'm just telling you that after doing this for almost 20 years, the proof is in the pudding. That when you take a command of your audience, and sometimes it's not even by what you say. So I just want you to try that sometimes. This is just a strategy. Okay, I'm not telling you. People listen to me speak, and sometimes I recognize that my style is not for everybody. I get it. Sometimes it could be a bit provocative, but I was forged in a crucible of adversity. So that is the way I deliver. It's just intense. Even in an elementary school, we still go all in. We do not come to lecture. We come to make an impact. But I'm saying that when those few crucial moments especially if you got a high clip of speeches and you got a high routine. I mean, when we did for Dr. Dawson, I think we did 37 events for hers. So you imagine going and doing the same thing 37 times in a 1 week period? No, you got to keep your fresh edge. And so I'm just giving you a strategy, a thought, a little nugget to say, hey man, the next time you take the platform, even if it's the ESPY Awards and you are the keynote speaker, try it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Sharon Thomas. Everybody claps. You go up there, you take your cards out your pocket, and you keep your head down for a few minutes. 30 seconds. I promise you, those people will wonder, what are you about to do? See, silence is golden, but duct tape is silver. Sometimes we say so much that we overspeak. You understand? You got to make sure that in this small morsel of time that you bring the most authentic, freshest, dynamic presentation you can. And preachers are notorious for this. Preachers are notorious for talking the ears off the people. I'm mindful of that when I go speak in churches. Like if the church is standing based off of their customs and traditions and they bring me to the platform, you know what I'm going to ask the church to do? Sit down. Because if I'm going to go down the road of thanking everybody, we're going to be there a minute. Right? And man, I'm like, man, we done sang for 5 hours. Y'all done shouted your bobby pins out. Now this brother going to get up here and ramble on for another 20 minutes about, you know, how glorious and grateful and thankful he is to be here. Man, we get it. We appreciate that. That saying it doesn't make you more humble or less humble. Oh boy, I know that's church stuff right there. But seriously, I will promise you that the next time you take the stage and you try this, you will get a reaction, maybe an unexpected reaction, but you will get a reaction. And last but not least, I'm gonna give you one extra tip. Are you ready? This one's for the road. Cartwheels. Now that would you should have videoed that. You need to post that video there, Sharon. I'm gonna give you one last tip. Are you ready? Because I speak in places that have tight parameters, okay? In particular, schools, I've gotten, understandings that, hey, look, you got from the time the bell rings and the kids are sitting till 17 minutes later, and then that's it. We're bringing in the next group. If you are given a time parameter to speak, whether it be at church, whether it be at a Boys and Girls Club, whether it be wherever, if you understand that there is a time parameter, especially if the organizers give you one, don't go over the time. Don't go over the time. I loved our last speakers that we had at Midnight Motivation. I'm not like a stickler. I'm not United States Marine Corps, 0730 or else. But there is a principle to, if the organizer says, hey, look, we need you to go about 32 minutes, and I go 37, I've just insulted them. I've insulted their time and their grace. If anything, I'm going to go 31 minutes and 30 seconds. I'm not going to start feeling myself. Church preachers do this too. We like for Reverend so-and-so to come up and greet us, say a few words to the people, and they go and take a text and got an altar call and a healing line. Stop. What's up, Greg? Don't do that. The VP is in the building. Yes. And Greg holds me accountable. Everybody thinks I'm this lone island to myself. Everywhere we go, we have a game plan. Like, okay, how long this gonna be? How long we got? What did the organizer say? Bam. And then when it gets down time to land in the plane, he holds up fingers and time, and we land the plane in accordance with what the time expectations are. So Greg doesn't speak, but he keeps the speaker in check, yo. So that's just another nugget. Okay, if somebody gives you a clear parameter of how long to speak, don't overdo it. Man, I got to get this last point in. Now, if somebody says, "Hey, man, you got till tomorrow," then bare your soul, right? But if they give you, "Hey, man, we need you to go 16 minutes," I'm not going 17. And that's one thing I like to teach young speakers, like especially in church. Like, man, if the pastor says, hey, brother, we'd like you to testify for 7 minutes, don't go 8. Because the next time the pastor calls you up, you might get 4. You know, you go to a school and you go over the kids. This is the last period. You speaking at the last period and the bell rings and now the kids are hung up because you had to say so much and school is dismissed and you still ain't finished. I promise you they won't invite you back. I'm just trying to help you with a couple tips here, okay? Please don't unfollow me because I didn't line up with your theology. I'm just telling you the things that's worked for us, and it might work for you. Number one, try to take the stage and don't say a word for 30 seconds. Get yourself together. Make the people anticipate what you're going to say. Do all your platitudes at the end of the speech when you wrap it up. When you wrap it all up and then you put in the thanks at the end, man, that might be a nice twist, a nice change for you. And secondly, if you're given a time parameter, honor that time parameter. All righty? All right, Greg, that's it for us, bro. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. I have a Christmas message that we got to produce for our sponsors. I'll probably produce it for everybody and to include our sponsors. Greg, see, that's the beautiful thing about what Greg and I do. We've been together for 16, 17 years, and our roles are clearly defined. I can't be him, and he can't be me. We are ebony and ivory, and we make it happen, yo. I say everyone needs to get a Greg Smith in their life, especially if you're going to do something of high octane performance. So I love you. Thank you. Appreciate you. Have a Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you later.